Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto the author Srila Vyasadeva. Hare Krishna. We are reading from the second canto, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. We are on the last chapter of this canto, entitled chapter 10, entitled Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. And we are on text 20. So 2:10:20. Nasike. Someone would like to respond online? Is this not available?
I'm willing to, but I have to pull it up. So I'm going to the site now.
2:10:20.
Almost there. About to hit the 20 verse. Okay. Nice. Nastike.
Nirabidyetam.
Nirabidyetam.
Doduyati.
Doduyati.
Nabhasvati.
Tabasvati.
Tatra.
Tatra.
Vayu.
Vayur.
Gandhavaha.
Gandhavaha.
Grana.
Grana.
Nasi.
Nasi.
Jigrikshata.
Jigrikshata.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Tatravayu gandhavao.
Tatravayur gandhavao.
Grano nasi jigrikshata.
Grano nasi jigrikshata.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Tatravayu gandhavao.
Tatravayur gandhavaho.
Grano nasi jigrikshataha.
Grano nasi jigrikshataha.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Tatravayu gandhavaho.
Tatravayur gandhavaho.
Grano nasi jigrikshataha.
Grano nasi jigrikshataha. Nasike nirabidyetam.
Nasike nirabidyetam.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Doduyati nabhasvati.
Tatravayur gandhavaho.
Tatravayu gandhavaho.
Grano nasi jigrikshataha.
Grano nasi jigrikshataha. Someone else would like to chant? So we can go to word for word translation. Nasike.
Nasike.
In the nostrils.
In the nostrils.
Nirabidyetam.
Nirabidyetam.
being developed.
being developed.
Doduyati,
Doduyati,
rapidly blowing.
rapidly blowing.
Nabhasvati,
Nabhasvati,
air respiration.
air respiration.
Tatra,
Tatra,
air abound.
thereupon.
Vayu,
Vayu,
air.
air.
Gandhavaha,
Gandhavaha,
smelling odor.
smelling odor.
Grana,
Grana,
sense of smell.
sense of smell.
Nasi,
Nasi,
in the nose.
in the nose.
Jigriksata,
Jigriksataha,
desire to smell odor.
desiring to smell odors.
Translation. Thereafter, when the Supreme Purusha desired to smell odors, the nostrils and respiration were generated. The nasal instruments and odors came into existence, and the controlling deity of air carrying smell also became manifested. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. The nasal instrument odor and the controlling deity air, smelling, etc., all became manifested simultaneously when the Lord desired to smell. The Vedic mantra confirms this statement in the Upanishad statement that everything is first desired by the Supreme before the subordinate living entity can act upon it. The living entity can see only when the Lord sees. The living entity can smell when the Lord smells, and so on. The idea is that the living entity cannot do anything independently. He can simply think of doing something independently, but he cannot act independently. The independence in thinking is there by the grace of the Lord, but the thinking can be given shape by the grace of the Lord. The whole explanation is on the subject of the absolute dependence of the living entities and absolute independence of the Supreme Lord. Less intelligent persons claiming to be on an equal level with God must first prove themselves to be absolute and independent, and then they must substantiate their claim to being one with God.
There is a phrase that you missed.
Yes, did I?
It was in the centers. This independence in thinking is therefore by the grace of the Lord, but the thinking can be given shape by the grace of the Lord. And therefore the common saying is that man proposes and God disposes. That was in there.
Yes, and therefore the common saying is that man proposes and God disposes. This is so important. Thank you for noticing.
Sorry.
Yeah, my eyes jumped. Thank you. Yeah, so the common. So I will read again the rest of the paragraph. This independence in thinking is there by the grace of the Lord. The thinking can be given shape by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, the common saying is that man proposes and God disposes. Thank you, Damayanti. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyanajala Shalakaya Chakshun Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah Shri Upam Sagachatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitash Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Badam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Hada Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourange Adi Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Panchakalpa Taubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutali, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachalani, Yoveseshya Shunyavadini Paskachari Vatarini. So the verse reads, thereafter, when the Supreme Purusha desired to smell odors, the nostril and respiration were generated, the nasal instruments and odor came into existence, and the controlling deity of air, carrying smell, also became manifested. So Srila Prabhupada pointed out that the important word here is desired. So when the Lord desired, creation take place. When the Lord desired, creation is annihilated, and there is nothing we can do about it. There is nothing like, no, I don't want to exist now, or no, I don't want to be destroyed now. Because when the will of the Lord is absolute, whatever the Lord wants, it's happened. It just happened automatically. In fact, there is, when we desire something, often we may get it or may not get it, and usually there is a delay. Even if we get what we desire, usually there is a delay. Even when I was a child, I remember my mom, our philosophy is that children shouldn't ask for anything. So asking was dangerous. But even when sometime I will express my desire, they will be fulfilled years later. And years later, usually I really didn't want what she was giving me because it was too late. So it's like that in the material world. We turn we want something, and then there is a delay. And by the time it comes, we are just not even sure. Like, do I really want that? Or no, I really didn't want that. At the time, I wanted that, but I evolved things. However, the Lord's desire is there is no delay. As soon as He desired something, then there is manifestation happening simultaneously. When He desires, and what He desires to enjoy. He's a supreme enjoyer. So He constantly desires to enjoy, and constantly His desire to enjoy is manifested in His expansion and in everything around Him. Every living entity in the universe, they are following into is a desire of the Lord. Of course, 10% of those living entities desire separately from the Lord. And that's why the Lord desired to create a place for them. So here we are, for so many verses and many more to come, we are really witnessing the manifestation of the Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa, like in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord showed Arjuna his Virat Rupa with thousands of ears and thousands of noses and thousands of arms and the fire and the earth and the water and all the elements there. So here we are seeing Garbhodakasha Vishnu, who is lying on Anantashesh on the Garbhodak ocean, is desiring to test, then water comes. His desire to smell odors, and air come, Vayu comes, the demigod of the air. And then the Lord, by His will, has created that, or the Virat Rupa, and all universe with its laws. All the laws come from the universe, and the scientists, they think that matter is the cause of everything. That if I control matter, in somehow or other, I can understand. If I understand I control matter, then things are going to happen in a different way. That's the whole principle behind most science, is that if I can understand matter, I can control matter. If I can control matter, then my will is supreme. Because if I can, then my will is supreme and nothing is going to happen. They don't understand that those scientists who want to control everything, they are going to be diseased and they are going to die. And there is nothing they can do about it. And then Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that he is the controller of the material energy. Maya Dyakshana Prakriti Suyate Sat Sham e Tunane Kanteya Jagad Viparivartate. So it's this material nature is working under my direction. So the material nature is not going to work under the direction of any scientist, or is not working under our direction either. And all those verses, actually, Prabhupada says, for us to understand how dependent it is. So the material nature still is creating, it said, it is producing moving and unmoving beings, but its rule, this manifestation is created and narrated again and again. So by its rule, like the Lord is creating the rule of the material energy, is creating the material energy and all the rules of the material energy, is creating even the way we are going to think, the way we are going to, is creating the false ego, is creating everything. And everything manifests in that Viratrupa, universal form of the Lord. And for us to understand that the best position we can achieve in the material world is not to be perfect. The best position we can achieve in the material world is to understand that dependence. If we understand that we are 100% dependent on the Lord, and we do understand also that the Lord is absolutely independent, then we are going to take shelter of the Lord. Because how can we take shelter of anything that's dependent? The material energy is dependent. Other people in this material world are dependent. There is so many stories about big demons taking shelter of demigods. Yeah, the big demons, like we read in Krishna book recently about Banasura. So Banasura, he was really, he did a lot of austerity and he was pleasing Lord Shiva all the time. He was pleasing Lord Shiva all the time, and he was always serving Lord Shiva and loving Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was so pleased with him that he gave him thousands of arms, and he made it the strongest, most powerful man that could exist, Banasura, with his 1,000 arms. He was so frustrated because he could never find an opponent. So sometime in his frustration, he will go and he will break mountains because he was so powerful and he needed to put that energy somewhere. So he will break mountains. And so he was feeling invincible and independent because he was taking care of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, was there. So he sheltered himself under Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a great demigod. And then there is a story of Usha and Aniruddha, and where Banasura he arrested Aniruddha, the grandson of Krishna, and then Krishna with his army, with Balaram and everybody, they came to get back their grandson, and then Banasura was able to witness the fight between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva, they were fighting together. And Lord Shiva, he has the most powerful weapon in the universe, which is called Shiva sword. That Shiva sword can burn the whole universe. In fact, at the time of devastation, Lord Shiva used that to devastate everything, the whole material cosmic manifestation. So that's how Lord Shiva is powerful. And so he was he threw that Shiva sword at Krishna. And Krishna, he responded with his powerful weapon called the Narayashwar. And the Narayashwar is so cold that he can freeze anything. And then in that story, we can see that even though the Shiva sword was so hot, he was screaming in pain because he was getting frozen. He was getting frozen and then annihilated. And at the end, the Shiva sword, even though he's a servant of Shiva, is even the most powerful weapon of Shiva. He surrendered to Krishna and he said, you are the supreme entity. So this story shows how, as long as we take shelter of other things or other living entities that are dependent on the Lord, we are not sheltered because they can be annihilated at any moment or they can be vanquished. And to understand the absolute independence of the Lord help us to shelter Ashraya. It is a shelter, to shelter ourselves under the supreme independent. Because through his independence, he shows us that this is a solid shelter and there is no other shelter that is solid for us beside the Lord. And the Lord is with us, is constantly with us speaking. Ishwara sarva bhutanam vitteshe junatistati Pamayam sarva bhutani yudrai radani mayaya. So we are all put in that machine made of the three modes of material nature. And the Supreme Lord is situated in our heart and is constantly stirring that machine. But often what we do is that he wants to stir one way and we stir all the way because that's not where we want to go. So he has to stir even more the other way to get us back on track. And then it creates so much problem until we surrender and say, okay, this is your to drive. It's not mine to drive. It's not my apartment. It's like, even if we rent an apartment here, we can understand that we are not in control, isn't it? The landlord can decide, okay, I'm going to destroy a wall here. I'm going to change your sink. I'm going to come and paint the room of your children because we are not the owner of the apartment. And so we have nothing to say. We have no independence to decide what's happening in that apartment. So we have so many dwellings, 8,400,000 dwellings in this material world. And all of them, the owner is Krishna, the landlord. The landlord for all those dwellings is the Supreme Lord. And to understand that this dwelling is not even mine, so whatever happened to that dwelling has nothing to do with me. Let me surrender. So in that verse, the purport Srila Prabhupada said, I wrote it down. Therefore, all the activity of living entities are directed by the super soul. The living entity gets what it deserves and is carried by the material body, which is created of the material energy under the direction of the super soul. So we have desire and we have deserve. So in the purport, the part of the purport I didn't read, and it's mind disposes, proposes and God disposes. So we can desire so many things, but we will only get what we deserve, because according to our past activities and according to our desire from our past activities, then we get what we deserve and nothing else. As soon as a living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. So there's no way to change it. I see sometimes we have people, they are like so strong. They want to change. I remember I had one client many years ago in another continent, and he so much didn't like something about his chest, not something. And so he already had done 4 or 5 plastic surgery, one of his nose, one of his cheek. So now he was looking at that part of his body that he didn't like. So he wanted to change it because he didn't like what he was inside. So similarly, often, like devotees maybe will move out of the attachment to the gross body to look in a certain way. However, the tendency is to develop an attachment for the subtle body to look in a certain way, for the subtle body to be in a certain way, attached, like I should be like that, I should be that person, I should be able to keep my agreement, I should be able to be generous all the time, I shouldn't have greed, I shouldn't have envy, I shouldn't have all those things that are part of the material context. So here it said like, he has to work under the spell of the bodily situation. What does that mean? Work under the spell of the bodily situation is not speaking only of the gross body. Srila Prabhupada knows that there is 2 bodies, the gross and the subtle. So we have to work under the spell of the subtle bodies that we acquired according to our relationship with our desire and activity from previous life. And that's what we have to work with. So if we have a lot of envy, then we need to work with that, not fight it, not make it wrong, not like have attachment that I shouldn't be envious, because that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It doesn't work more than I'm going to change my cheek. Like this person, he changed his cheek, he extended his nose, and still he wasn't satisfied. And what next? Because at the core, he was just not accepting his dwelling. He was saying, I'm supposed to have a different kind of housing. I'm not supposed to be in a small apartment. I'm supposed to be in a big dwelling, in a house that's a mansion. No, if you have a 2-bedroom apartment, that's your dwelling. That's your bodily situation. So work under the spell of the bodily situation. A person seated in a high-speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car. So that's Prabhupada's change from dwelling to the car analogy. So the car analogy, yes, if we are in a very speedy car, that's what we have, speedy. We understand things fast. Or if you are like a slower car, that's okay. That's a vehicle to go back to Godhead. So the living entities, the driver, may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity to work according to his past desires. The living entity is not independent. One should not think himself independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The individual is always under his control. Therefore, his duty is to surrender. And that is the injunction of the next verse. So we are always dependent on the Lord. And because we are dependent on the Lord for our subsistence, we may think like my bank account is the way it is because of me or my whatever. And in a sense, we have some independence and we are supposed to perform our duties. However, even if we perform our duties, like he said, Karmani eva dikaraste, ma velesu kadachana, ma kama fala etu bu, ma te sangos vakarmani. You have the right to perform your prescribed duty. That's what we need to do, in fact. We need to perform our prescribed duty. But you are not entitled to the fruit of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So we are duty to prescribe. We do it. It doesn't matter what comes out of it. It doesn't matter because we are not entitled to the fruit of our action. So maybe we do a lot of action, let's say in personal development. We do a lot of action to become better, to be like kinder, to be more surrender, whatever. And we may find the result happening, or we may not, because the result is not up to us. It's up to Krishna. And we can understand that maybe on a growth level, and we want to understand it on every level. That in fact, we are not entitled to the result. And most of the time, we are not going to be successful at anything without the will of the Lord. We cannot achieve anything. So when we achieve something, then the devotee's attitude, when the devotee achieves anything, is to thank the Lord. Lord, you're so kind. Lord, you're so amazing. Lord, you're the one. Like all of a sudden, I feel lighter. All of a sudden, I feel like I can interact with people without getting frustrated and angry. All of a sudden, I feel more surrender. I feel like it doesn't matter what's happened. It doesn't matter the content of my bank account. To come to a place where even when we surrender, we are looking at achievement, and from that place, being able to thank the Lord, for our inner cleaning of our heart. If our heart is dirty, we know that there is nobody else but the Lord to really clean it. And at the same time, man proposes and God disposes. So we want to be able to show our disposition of like, yeah, I'm here, I'm sincere, I'm doing my work, but I know it's not going to happen without you, without the mercy of the Lord. So this part of the Bhagavatam is really interesting because it challenges us. It challenges us to expand, like Mother Nanda was saying, expand our mind, expand our mind. Where else but the Bhagavatam we hear so much about creation? And why is it important to understand creation? Because by understanding creation, we understand our situation. By understanding all the details of creation, we understand our situation. We understand the situation of the spirit soul having a human experience. And what is the human experience? What is the vehicle of that human experience? The gross vehicle, the subtle vehicle of that human experience. And by understanding all that, then we can understand our dependence. By understanding our dependence, we understand that there is someone we are depending on. We are depending on the Lord for everything. And then from that understanding, then it's easy to surrender because I'm depending on you. Krishna, do whatever you want with me. And then it becomes such a peaceful existence as the Lord is going to stir the wheel of our car and we are going to witness. And then we are on a ride, like maybe it's a roller coaster ride, or maybe it's whatever ride. We are on the ride and we follow the ride. And then we get to witness and be in awe and reverence how dearly the Lord loves us, how dearly he cares about us in a way that he's going to take us exactly where we need to go. He's going to exactly stir our car in a direction that's going to be the most deeply fulfilling for us. So the Lord is neutral. The Lord is neutral, like when Mahavishnu is laying down on the causal ocean, the pradhan is there, like the material energy in a amalgamated ways is there. And the Lord is neutral. He doesn't have envy towards us. He doesn't have anger towards us. He's not biased towards us. He's really neutral. He's like desiring for us to be part of his enjoyment. That's all. He's just like he's offering, he's proposing, if you want, you can enjoy with me. Or we can say yes or no, but he's neutral. If we say no, we say, okay, I'm okay with that. Just go and try to enjoy yourself. I'm creating a system here, like of controller and controlled and matter, and just go and enjoy yourself. So by meditating on the Lord, it says the Virat Rupa, the universal form of the Lord. And right now we can, like think of the nose, think of the smell, of the odor, that the Lord needed to desire that first before we could even receive the ability to smell or the ability to breathe. The Lord needed to desire that first for us to be able to do that. So we can meditate on that. We can meditate, say that for neophyte to meditate on the Virat Rupa, because that's what we are in contact with. It's purifying to the heart, because Virat Rupa is still transcendental, is still the Lord. Every aspect of it is transcendental. So by meditating on the Virat Rupa of the Lord, we purify our heart. We make our hearts more and more clean. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Rivantastosh Yabadrani. Vidu notice so it's Satam. He said, Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the super soul in the heart of every living entity, clean the heart of the truthful devotee who have developed an urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So Sri Krishna is the one who cleaned the heart, not us. Sri Krishna. And why and how? When we are truthful to the truthful devotee. Truthfulness is the last leg of religion. So for us to have the Lord cleansing our heart, we need to be truthful and also develop an urge to hear about the Lord. Develop that urge, develop that desire. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I have the Bhagavad Gita here. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Shavashya Mridi Sani Visto, Mata Smriti Gyanam Apo Anacha. That is sitting in our heart and is the source of our remembrance and forgetfulness. So we can blame the Lord when we forget something, like I didn't read properly. It's probably the Lord who created that. So that's how much dependence we have. Like forgetting something, like right now I'm forgetting, I prepare for the class. There is so many things I wanted to speak about. But if the Lord desire, I'm going to be blank. I have no power to speak. Mukum Korotivat Shalom Pangum Langayati Kripa. Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Saguru Desatarinam. He said, without the will of the Lord, even a lame man can walk, and a dumb man can speak. So that's the thing. As we surrender, we see like I have no power to even speak right now. So in a Bhagavad Gita, there is a picture I want to show you because it's about desire. Because everything is based on desire. So we can desire to hear about the Lord, like that's what Srinvatam Swakata Krishna, that verse tells us, that one who have developed the urge, an urge, like it's an intense desire, an urge is so intense desire. So for one who has developed that urge, then the Lord clean our heart. And in that picture, I don't know if you see the picture, all done. Yeah, you see that picture? You know, that's the analogy in the 15th chapter of the banyan tree. that the material energy, there is the spiritual world here. The spiritual world is here. And then here it's all our entangling. There is even the Veda are entangling. Even the Vedic hymns are entangling. Fruitive activity, austerity. There is so many here that said liberation, all that. It's such a big tangle. I love that picture because when I look at it, I feel the knot in my heart. I can relate to it. Yes, everything is entangling. Every time I try to fix something, a material problem with a material solution, I feel like, so tangled because there is no controlling the material energy. And if you look closely, what's here is called the Viraj River. And what's on this picture, what does it say on the Viraj River? Desire. So all the process of Bhakti Yoga, all the process of devotional service, all the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, our chanting of the holy name, Chetudarpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, the cleansing of the heart. Like you said, glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleansing the heart of all the dust accumulated for years. So all our chanting, our reading, our attending the morning program, what's the goal of that? Changing the nature of our desires from material desire to control, and control the material energy, control what we do, control what's happening inside of us, to spiritual desire. I want to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. I want to know about the Lord. I want to serve my spiritual master. I want to be useful in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So all the process of Bhakti Yoga, it's about transforming our desire from our material desire, gross or subtle, to spiritual desire, to only desire the Lord desire, to desire in oneness. There is oneness, and the oneness is in desire. So to only desire as the Lord desire. And when we come to the point of only desire as the Lord desire for us, then we are like fully sheltered and we can easily surrender to the Lord. Let's see if there was another place. So through changing our desire, we also transform our senses to only want, like Ambarish Maharaj, is one of the Mahajan, because he only wanted to smell the flower that was offered to Krishna. He only wanted to use his leg to go to the temple of Krishna. He wanted only to use his eyes to see the form of Krishna. He only wanted to use his ears, because those ears and nose and eyes, as we are reading here, they are given to us, to the desire of the Lord. So as soon as we use it as he desired, connected with him as his part and parcel, then all our senses get purified. And the soul has senses. The soul has eyes, the soul has ears, the soul has taste. So there is a very famous verse, Atashu Krishna Namani Nabhavet Swakayam Indriya Sevamuke Shiva Do Swayam Eva Swaratada. So it says, therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastime. So our material senses are not going to do it. So we need to transform our material senses. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So the process is simple, is to use the tongue to vibrate the holy name and use the tongue to eat Krishna Prasadam. And by chanting the holy name and by eating only the remnants of Krishna, Krishna Prasadam, then our hearts get purified. Our hearts and our senses get purified, and our desires get purified more and more. We can see already, most of us, maybe in the past, we used to eat meat. And most of us, we don't have the desire to eat meat. So we have transformed our desire. Maybe in the past, we desire to go out, always out to parties or friends, to drink or have, enjoy in some ways, barbecue, whatever. And now, naturally, those desires are clean from our heart. Without us making an endeavor, without us, we can see our desires are changing. We desire maybe from desire in a mode of ignorance, or desire in a mode of passion. Maybe now we have more desire in a mode of goodness. I'm going to be in nature. I'm going to sit and do nothing and just meditate. So our desire become purified, and then they come to a place of transcendence. Transcendence means that we desire Krishna. We desire to hear about Krishna. We desire to serve Krishna. We desire to be with Krishna. We desire to be with the spiritual master, associate with devotees, only be with devotees and speak about Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. So, in our life, we can act like everything depends on us because we have desire and we are independently desiring by God's grace, and we have a very minute independence, and to use that independence to choose to desire Krishna. That's the only way we can use our independence. We can choose Krishna or we can choose Maya. And we pray like everything is dependent on Krishna. So I'm going to read the Sanskrit. Nasike nirabidyetam dadu yati nabasvati tatravayu gandavaho kano nasi jagrit sataha. Therefore, when the Supreme Purusha desired to smell odors, the nostrils and respiration were generated. The nasal instruments and odors came into existence, and the controlling deity of air, carrying smell, also became manifested. So we are really getting acquainted with the Virat Rupa. Hare Krishna, any comments, sharing, realization, challenges? What's happening for you now?
Hello.
Yes, Kim.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear Kim.
No question. I enjoyed it. I liked the illustration of the apartment. Like that was a really, even though it's probably been repeated because I don't remember hearing it. And it makes a lot of sense to me how little control we have when I look at it that way. I don't know. I just appreciated that. And yeah, Krishna's the landlord, and I liked it. Thank you. Thank you for this speech, for the talk.
Thank you.
Krishna.
Yeah, Shiva Prabhupada sometimes he take different analogy, and then often he say dwellings, and those dwellings, they are given to us by Krishna. They are Krishnas. Everything is Krishna. There is nothing separated from Krishna. And if we see anything separated from Krishna, then this is our illusion. Or Krishna, Prabhupada says that it's like if we see something separate, like something is Maya, then it is our Maya, our illusion, because nothing is separated from Krishna. And so those dwellings, at 8,400,000 different kind of dwellings, they're all Krishna's. He's a landowner, and then he can do whatever he wants with those dwellings. And whatever he do with the dwellings is out of his causeless and divided mercy. Thank you, dear Kim.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I have a question. So like, okay, when it comes to like doing devotional service, hold on. So Krishna is also in charge of like how that is performed.
Yeah, he is in charge too. He is in charge of everything. Yeah.
So he's like ultimately the ultimate factor in like how that devotional service is performed, or if it's performed at all.
He's the ultimate factor. He's not the only factor. You know, there is our desire, there is our sincerity, there is the dust and dirt inside our heart. But yeah, we cannot chant one round without the mercy of the Lord. We cannot read one page of the Bhagavatam without the mercy of the Lord. And for us to understand that, it's not our willpower, it's not our pushing, it's not our forcing, it's not us. It's just like, yeah, I'm so lucky. And every day to remember, I'm so fortunate to chant the Lord, the name of the Lord. I'm so fortunate to read. And at the same time, to not use that as a crutch, like, oh, well, you know, I'm not chanting because Krishna doesn't want me to. Yeah, we want to understand that to bring us to humility instead of like, wow, I'm doing my sadhana because I'm so powerful or strong, intelligent, or it's all about me. No, it's not about me, really not. If Krishna wants, he can take it all away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been struggling with like how much to just surrender that I'm not strong right now in devotional service, or not that it's really that bad. I mean, I feel like, you know, definitely feel devotional thoughts and doing devotional things, you know, all throughout the day. But, you know, but I'm wondering like how much to force or push, or how much to let go and, you know, try again later, you know, like it's no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, it's an interesting balance. It's a balance, and also it doesn't need to be either or. It's really an and. How in my situation I completely surrender and let go, that the Lord is my shepherd, that the Lord is the one who supports me to chant and read and keep reading and chanting also. Like it's not either or, either I let go and then whatever, when it comes back, or I push and force. I don't think it's that dichotomy. I think it's more like going to like, yeah, I'm helpless, I'm powerless, I have desire for more service, and at the same time, I'm not capable, I'm not feeling strong enough to be in that mood fully and to let go of control of my sadhana, of my devotional service, and at the same time do my duty without being attached to the result. But like doing my duty without being attached to the result is not about willpower or pushing or force. It's just, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do it. Even so, you know, I don't have test or I don't have attraction, but there is no push. It's just, okay, I'm doing it. Can be relaxed and simple. It can be very simple. Does that respond to your question?
Yeah, I haven't felt simple about devotional service. I felt like, oh, it makes the most sense. I have to do it. It's this amazing thing. It makes, you know, like I have this like logically I should just be so, it's like everything else is stupid and nothing, you know, like I had this intensity about like how this is the most logical thing to do with my life and I have to do it. Energy comes. It's like I ruin it right in that consciousness, or at least in ruin it, like whatever. That's how I feel. Like not
like,
being simple about it.
You have a pushing maybe energy about it because, oh, I'm so excited. It's so enthusing. There's nothing else to do with my life. It's so like that makes sense. It makes sense. And so I have to do it. And then in that, there was so much of Dominic or Damayanti, it's so much about you. Like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then now the Lord is kind of showing you, well, no, yes, it's amazing. I'm really seeing your sincerity. I really see your desire. And I'm here to clean your heart. Shiva tam swakota Krishna, punya shravana kirtana. Idyantasto yabhadrani vidunoti suitsatam. Shri Krishna in the heart is cleansing. He's cleansing our heart. And maybe in that pushing, there was some dirt or some anartha. And the stage of anartha which is painful. Ado Shraddha Bhajana Kriya, anartha nivriti. And it's a stage. At first we have a little face, and then we chant. And at first in spiritual life with that little face, and we have a test. We get a test, and the test is really fun. And often that test is like rejuvenating the work we have done, or our spiritual bank account from our previous life. So it's fun and it's easy, and then people really enjoy Krishna consciousness at the beginning. It's all over the place, most people, and then then I engage in the bhajan, I engage in a program, and the more I engage, the more my faith increases. Until the place where I come to I'm going to commit to that process. I'm going to commit to that process. And when we commit to that process, then the process of anartha nivriti starts. Like the unwanted thing in the heart start to come to the surface, really. It start to come up as we chant more and more. It comes, and all that dirt and all that envy, greed, anger, like all the 6 enemies of the soul are coming to the surface. And that they come to the surface, we need to surrender. We need to accept oh Lord, here is what I see. And anartha nivriti means the pulling of the weed. In a sense, in Sattva, there is the pulling of the weed as being like an action. And at the same time, there is so much of it which is coming from the Lord. So to really balance the two, to do my best, okay, I can see I offended a devotee. Let me have a conversation with that person because I offended them. Or I can see I acted, I haven't been generous. Let me give in charity to be generous because I see I acted out of greed. So we want to do some of the work. And while we are doing that work, not feeling like we are the controller, the doer, or that we are entitled to the result of that work. Because ultimately it's the Lord. So part of the pulling the weed is to put the weed at the lotus feet of the spiritual master and let him do whatever he chooses to do with that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, the anartha nivriti is part of the process, and it's a painful part of the process.
Playful.
Painful. You can make it playful too by being simple about it. Simple is just, I'm not going to push, no, but if I in the name of not pushing, I'm going into complacency, it's not going to be satisfying for the soul either. So no, I'm not going to push. I'm very, very clear that every time I see that pushing energy, every time I see that controlling energy of my process, I'm going to step back and let go and be simple and just do my duty without attachment to the result, without attachment that I like my duty or I don't like my duty, or there is a result of my duty or no result of my duty. Yeah. Hi, Krishna. Thank you, Damayanti, for your enlivening sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Whatever we achieve, like a devotee's mentality, is that whatever I achieve, internally or externally, I'm just grateful to the Lord. Whatever I achieve always has nothing to do with me. So we want to thank the Lord for whatever. Even thank the Lord. thank you, Krishna, for showing me that I'm not in control of my chanting. Or thank you, Krishna, for showing me I'm not in control of my reading. I know for many years I struggled with reading, like raising a child, and I was managing Sadvatov and managing an household, like a lot. Like I was so over the edge all the time. And so reading was really difficult to keep going. So I will have period where I was reading regularly every day, and then I will, fall, and then I will feel all the guilt and shame about it, and then I will go back to it and all that. And until the day I really I want to read Krishna. I want you to know that I really do want to read. And, I feel so helpless sometimes to arrange to be reading in my life. I need your help. I need your help. And I could see when I was in that frame of mind, there was more reading taking place in my life. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that. And now Krishna gives me so much reading. He's so kind. He created such a situation for me to just let go of everything. And then what else? Engage myself in hearing and chanting, which is the most important items of devotional service. Anything else? Hare Krishna. Rohini, you had something?
Hi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. I wanted to share that I recently had a really nice conversation with Mother Rukmini, and during the conversation, she mentioned, she said, because Krishna's managing my schedule, and it struck me so deeply because in the past a year or more, I've had this experience in my practice specifically where I've made mistakes in scheduling, like where I've double booked patients, or I've forgotten that I booked a patient, or I've forgotten that I double booked, and almost like 100% of the time that this happens, someone will reschedule. One of those people will reschedule, and then the other person will come, and like the front desk person will come get me and be like, "You have someone here right now," and I'd be like, "I shouldn't have anyone here." And then the other person who I booked is waiting for me, and like things like that have been happening. I mean, it has been just so magical. Like it's obvious. It's so obvious that something's happening that is beyond my control. Like, so okay, I'm not great at doing my schedule. I'm not great at doing it, but Krishna is, and I don't need to work. It's almost like not that I don't need to be responsible and work on getting better so that I'm not double booking people, but it's just like I'm just blown away because when she said that to me, it completely shifted my, I don't know, it has changed my understanding of Krishna being in control in my life. Like it has deepened my realization about it. It's deepened my realization. And it's just been amazing. And even in that, like Krishna has allowed me to have that realization through talking with Rukmini, having this experience with my scheduling. And it's been so supportive for me in so many ways, not even in my practice, but in my life. Like when I was sharing with you that Krishna wants me to write songs. Well, it's really allowed me to see like, oh yeah, like Krishna is just like giving me this information. I can show up for it or not. And now my job is like, for me, at least the way that I see it, is that to pray. If this is the service, if I want this service, to pray to Krishna, please, Krishna, continue to give me this service, and then to show up for it when it comes, like to fully show up for it. Yeah, it's been liberating for me, and actually has really helped me to get to a deeper place of surrender in my practice with my patients, and that, oh, okay, it's like another level of understanding for me that, oh, I'm not the healer. I'm not the doer. I'm not this. This is Krishna's work, and I'm showing up for it. He's my manager. He does all of it, and I just show up for it, and I listen, and he tells me what to do. He tells me what points to use and what herbs to use, and yeah, so it's been just a really supportive realization for me in so many ways.
You're witnessing the magic. Like you're allowing Krishna to stir your wheel, and then you can just sit on the back, in the car, and look around and witnessing the magic. You don't need to like, oh, no, I want to go that way. You just let him stir, and then your eyes are open, and you're looking at the beautiful landscape, and you're looking at around, and you're looking, oh, this is really magical. So you can see, like, for one conversation with a devotee, that you realize, oh yeah, I can see how Krishna is in charge of my schedule, and now, kind of, you made mistake. And it's nice to allow ourselves that we are in a context where we are going to make mistake. The four defect of the living entities. So we have four defect. One of them is that we are going to make mistake. And if we don't fight those mistakes and accept, yeah, making mistake, I'm double booking or forget about a patient and being humble about that, then Krishna is showing up and making sure that somehow, he could decide not to show up too. Like Krishna doesn't show up necessarily by rectifying our mistake. We show up in a way that's going to help us and others for our welfare. It could be that in a situation you have the double book and two patients come at the same time, and knowing that Krishna was still in charge of your schedule, and he decided for the benefit of those three people, that's the best to let it happen like that. So Krishna is in charge and he's stirring the wheel, and it's not necessarily, but often we discover him to those magical ways, and you have also, like, it's said in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is directing the wandering of the living entity. So that's meaning a minute aspect of our life is present. I was sharing with you and others in class. A few months ago, I read a book about a sister that was an hermit in the mountains. And, things will, she had a chapel, she had Catholic, so she had a little dwelling, she needed to maintain the trail to go get the water 15 minutes down the mountains. So she had a lot of manual work to do every day to just maintain herself. Simple living is like a lot of working. So it was a lot of work for her. And she described that she will not move to do anything until she was getting guidance from the Lord. Even in a minus way, like, okay, like today you need to go and cut that branch, or today, the roof of the chapel need to be fixed, or, like that. So she described how how she taught herself, she practiced hearing the Lord, guiding her in the minutest ways of her everyday working and doing things like, like manual things. So for you're realizing more and more the presence of the Lord in your life, and how He's directing your wandering, and how He's inspiring you. And your duty is to show up. Your duty is to be there, not like, oh, I'm not qualified, oh no, I cannot do it, or I'm scared, or what if I make mistake? Because all those things are based on false ego. We are going to make mistake. And so my duty is to show up. My duty is to be there, to give 100%, and to give 100% to do my duty. And our first duty as devotees is our sadhana. And then the rest is Krishna's. And I'm witnessing the magic.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I appreciate you saying that. Many things that you said. Mm-hmm. Because earlier you said even if 3 people came in at the same time, it was perfect. It's perfect. Like it's perfect for all of those involved. Like there's a that was Krishna's arrangement for the good of all of those, for the good of all of those people involved. So I appreciate that too, and I appreciate you saying that, making mistakes, you did say that, but this last part that you said that we can show up and do our duty, even if I'm sorry, my children are distracting me. Show up and do our duty, even if there are we don't want it, maybe we don't want to do it, or maybe that we make mistakes, or
often our false ego make us scared of making mistake.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I also feel more inspired too from hearing from you and talking with Damayanti, and then that to just pray more because I really struggle with getting reading in. It's always been a struggle for me. And so I'm really feeling inspired and connecting with, praying for that more.
Yeah, with 2 children and practice, acupuncture practice, your patients and the household and the chores. It's difficult. The reading can fall on the side very easily. So you're inspired to pray. But the Lord inspired me that I committed to open a book every day and at least read 1 sentence. And then that led me to more, of course, because then when I sit, but I wasn't committed to more than that. And it was really came from the Lord, like, okay, 10 minutes didn't work for me. So many things didn't work, but that did work. That's like, okay, I'll just open a book. Yeah. You feel inspired to pray, to feel like, even we don't pray but for our sadhana every day. However, our sadhana, we could be grateful every day that I chant, grateful every day that I read, grateful every day that I offer a meal to the Lord, grateful when I honor Prashadam, to be grateful and to pray for more service, because the reward for service is more service. More services. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. The Lord is so kind, He's loving us, and if we let Him, He's going to guide us exactly where we need to be. all we need to do is to put our arm in the air and call on Govinda. Govinda! And then let's everything happen. And trusting we are okay. Not trusting that we are going to be okay. Trusting that we are okay. Thank you all. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.